In 1970, Cadillac rules the world of luxury cars. American engineering, American scale, American confidence. Mercedes-Benz and BMW are respected across the Atlantic, but neither one is considered a genuine threat to Detroit's crown. Down at the bottom of the pack sits Jaguar, a British name still carrying enormous prestige, despite selling barely a fraction of what the leaders move each year. Nobody in 1970 could have guessed what was coming for either end of this list. First, the shock. In 1974, the oil crisis rips through the industry. American land yachts, built for cheap gas and open highways, suddenly become a punchline. Buyers abandon Cadillac in droves, and Mercedes-Benz seizes the global luxury crown for the very first time. It feels like a passing of the torch. It is actually the opening move of a 5-decade German takeover. But the real disaster of the decade belongs to Jaguar. Trapped inside British Leyland, a state-run conglomerate strangled by strikes and catastrophic build quality, Jaguar's production simply falls apart. By 1976, the brand that once rivaled Rolls-Royce for prestige is producing under 15,000 cars a year. This is not a slow decline. This is a company being actively dismantled by its own ownership. For a moment, it looks like the worst is behind them. It is not, because while Jaguar fights to survive, an entirely different battle is unfolding at the top of the industry. Through the late 1980s, BMW and Audi surge past Cadillac entirely. By 1980, BMW has already dethroned the once untouchable American giant. Detroit's era of global luxury dominance, a reign that felt permanent just a decade earlier, ends almost quietly. And Detroit is about to get another shock. In 1986, Honda launches Acura, becoming the first Japanese manufacturer to build a dedicated luxury brand from scratch. It targets the American market directly, the same market Cadillac and Lincoln had treated as their birthright for decades. Within 2 years, Acura is already outselling Jaguar. A country that Western automakers barely considered a competitor is now inside the club, and it did not knock politely. It kicked the door down. Then in 1990, Toyota does something nobody in Stuttgart or Munich saw coming. After a billion-dollar development program, they release a car built with one single purpose: humiliate the Germans on their own turf. The Lexus LS 400 offers Mercedes-level refinement at a fraction of the price. It should have been impossible. Toyota does it anyway, and Germany never quite forgets the insult. What follows is nothing short of a stranglehold. Mercedes, BMW, and Audi lock arms at the top of the global market and refuse to let go. In 1998, Mercedes even merges with an American giant to form Daimler Chrysler, a deal built partly on the fantasy that European engineering and American manufacturing muscle could be fused into one unstoppable machine. The fantasy does not last. The merger unravels within a decade, but Mercedes emerges from the wreckage still standing near the top of the board, while its old American rival, Cadillac, keeps sliding further away from relevance with every passing year. And for the first time in automotive history, 3 German manufacturers completely monopolize the premium segment. Japan's Lexus, Acura, and Infiniti fight hard for scraps below them. Everyone else, including Jaguar, is fighting just to stay relevant. While the mass-market giants fight over millions of units, an entirely different war plays out far below them, one measured in thousands rather than millions. Bentley and Rolls-Royce spend the 1970s and 1980s barely producing a few thousand cars a year combined, both trapped for a time under the same struggling British ownership as Jaguar itself. Volkswagen eventually buys Bentley, BMW eventually buys Rolls-Royce, and both brands quietly transformed from relics into some of the most profitable nameplates in the entire industry. Proof that in this business, scale is not the only path to survival. BMW seizes outright control of the crown in 2004, powered by the runaway success of the 3 Series. Mercedes spends over a decade in second place, watching, waiting. Then 2008 arrives, and it nearly ends Jaguar for good. The global financial crisis guts Ford's finances so badly that the company is forced to abandon its luxury division entirely. Jaguar and Land Rover get sold off together for $2.3 billion to Tata Motors, an Indian conglomerate that almost nobody in the Western auto press had taken seriously before that day. Critics call it the final chapter for a once great British name. They are wrong. Spectacularly wrong. Under Tata, Jaguar rebuilds itself around a lineup of SUVs, and the bet pays off in a way nobody predicted. By 2012, Audi's explosive growth in China pushes it into a dead heat with Mercedes. By 2018, Jaguar hits an all-time historical peak, selling over 180,000 cars in a single year. It is the highest point the brand has ever reached in its entire history. But peaks are dangerous, because hidden behind that record number, Jaguar's profit margins are terrifyingly thin. The company is selling more cars than ever and making almost nothing on each one. And in that exact same year, while Jaguar celebrates its greatest triumph, a company almost nobody took seriously a decade earlier quietly crosses 245,000 cars sold in a single year. That company is Tesla, and it is about to rewrite every rule this industry has ever followed. Mercedes claws the crown back from BMW in 2016, riding a completely redesigned, design-forward lineup after over a decade playing second fiddle. It feels, for a moment, like the old German order is unshakable. It is the last time it will ever feel that simple. By 2021, BMW edges back into first place, successfully navigating the supply chain shortages that crippled its rivals during the pandemic. It is a genuine achievement. It is also the last purely combustion-era victory this industry will ever produce, because something else is accelerating just behind them, and it is about to become impossible to ignore. In 2022, Tesla shatters 1 million cars sold in a single year. That number alone should stop you. A company that did not exist in 1970, that was selling barely 2,000 cars as recently as 2008, is now producing more vehicles annually than Cadillac managed at its absolute historical peak. BMW and Mercedes are no longer racing each other anymore. They are racing an opponent that did not even exist for most of this story. By 2023, Tesla has nearly doubled again, closing in on 2 million cars a year and crashing straight through Audi's position on the board. The electric disruption is not a forecast anymore. It is already the present. Cadillac watches all of this unfold from a distance it never expected to occupy. The brand that once ruled this entire industry has spent decades quietly sliding down the board. And by the 2020s, it is no longer fighting for first place. It is simply fighting to stay on the list at all. Its answer is to pour everything into an electric reinvention of its own, chasing the same disruption that is currently demolishing its former rivals. Whether that bet pays off is still being written in real time, somewhere far below the top of this board. And this is exactly where Jaguar makes its most dangerous decision. In 2023, new leadership announces the reimagined strategy. Jaguar will abandon internal combustion entirely and rebuild itself as an all-electric ultra-luxury brand by 2025, betting the company's entire survival on a single, radical reinvention. It does not go how they promised. In 2024, Jaguar abruptly axes its entire existing lineup, the XC, the XF, the F-Type, all at once, leaving dealerships almost completely empty. Sales do not slow down gradually. They crater immediately. By 2025, annual sales collapse to just over 15,000 cars. By 2026, that number falls again, roughly the same territory Jaguar occupied back in the depths of the British Leyland disaster 50 years earlier. A brand that once outproduced this same low point is now voluntarily returning to it, on purpose, in pursuit of a future that has not yet arrived. Meanwhile, Tesla closes in on 2 million cars sold annually, standing shoulder to shoulder with BMW and Mercedes at the very top of a market it did not even enter until this story was already 4 decades old. So here's where this leaves us. One brand spent 56 years surviving oil crises, state ownership, financial collapse, and corporate abandonment, only to nearly erase itself voluntarily the moment it bet everything on the future. Another brand did not exist for the first 4 decades of this story, and now outsells manufacturers with a century of heritage behind them. Was Jaguar's all-electric gamble a visionary act of self-preservation, or the slowest act of corporate suicide the luxury car industry has ever witnessed? And when the reboot finally lands, assuming it lands at all, will there be enough of the brand's soul left for anyone to actually want it? Cadillac's fall proves that even the most dominant name in an industry is never permanently safe. Tesla's rise proves the opposite. A company with no history at all can outproduce century-old brands, provided it arrives at exactly the right moment. Jaguar sits between both lessons, a single brand that has now lived through collapse, resurrection, peak, and collapse again, all inside one continuous 56-year arc. That argument, more than any single number on this board, is the one worth having.